Okay, so we're looking at solving simultaneous linear equations. So linear obviously means both of them are lines, and the fact that it's simultaneous means we need to solve them at the same time. So we have two equations, and we need to find x and y. So we know the first thing that we do is either get the x's or the y's to be the same number. In this case, we're going to pick the y's because we know that the fact that they're different signs will help us in the next step. So if we want to make the y's the same number, we know we have to multiply the bottom line by 7, because then we'll have 7y in the bottom as well. So what we do to the y, we must do to the whole line, so don't forget that. So top line, we don't have to change that this time. Equals 5, and the bottom line, so we'll have 7 by 4x, that'll give us 28x. And 7 by plus y will be plus 7y. And 7 by 14, so we just do rough work over here. So you'll have 8 and 2, 98, so minus 98. Right, so at this stage then, so our step 1 is to get our x's and y's to be the same number. We've done that. The next step is to ensure that the whatever one we've picked, either the x's or y's, ensure that they have different signs. So at the moment it's grand for us because the y's actually have different signs as it stands, minus 7y plus 7y. We can actually eliminate them because we know minus 7y plus 7y gives us 0. So they're actually eliminated. So then we look at the other parts. So we'll have 3x plus 28x. The reason they're plus is because there's no minus here. So when there's no minus, it means they're plus. So we'll add them. So 3x plus 28x will give us 31x equals. And then on this side we have 5 minus 98. So 5 minus 98 will give us minus 93. So now we're trying to find x. We want to solve for x. So we know that the 31 and the x are stuck together, therefore they're multiplying. And like we know already that if multiply crosses equals, it becomes a divide. Okay, so we want to find x, so we'll get x on its own. And as I said, 31 was multiplying there, so once it crosses the equals, it becomes a divide. So we end up having minus 93 divided by 31, so we know x is equal to minus 3. So we found our x value. Now, in order to find our y value, all we do is we sub this value, so sub your x equals minus 3, back into one of your initial equations. It doesn't matter if you pick the top line or the bottom line, but you sub it back into your equation, and that should help us to solve to find the y value. So I'll pick the first one. So 3x minus 7y was the equation, equals 5. And I knew that x is equal to minus 3, or I know that my x is equal to minus 3, so I'm going to sub that in. So 3 times minus 3, remember, if you sub it in, you put it in brackets. Minus 7y equals 5. So 3 minus 3, that will give us minus 9, minus 7y equals 5. I'm trying to solve for y, so I want to get y on its own, so I'm going to get rid of that minus 9 first, because then I'm closer to having y on its own, so I'll have 5. The minus 9 crosses equals, we know if a subtraction crosses equals, it becomes a plus. So we'll have minus 7y is equal to 14. Now we know we're trying to find y. We know that the minus 7 is stuck to the y, therefore it's multiplying. So if we want to get y on its own, we know that a multiply crosses equals, it becomes a divide. So we're going to have 14 divided by minus 7, so y would be equal to minus 2. And that's our y value. And that's how you complete a simultaneous equation. You have to find your x value and your y value. If you were unsure about it actually being right, you can do a thing called checking it, or verifying your answer. So if you did want to check this, it's generally not a requirement in your exam paper unless they state verify your answer. But what you can do is just pick one of the equations again, the top or the bottom one. So we'll pick the top just for handiness sake. Sub in what the values that we found. So we found that x is minus 3, minus 7 times minus 2, because we found that was y. So 3 by minus 3 would be minus 9. Minus 7 by minus 2 gives us a plus 14 equals 5. So minus 9 plus 14 gives us 5, so 5 equals 5. Because it's balanced, we know we're correct. And that's how you do a simultaneous linear equation.